again. This is your host, Betsy Sawyer Galen, and we're doing another show of Ready to Heal. My guest today is, you might remember her from a year and a half ago. This is Laurelle Rethke.
Hi.
And she was here doing a demonstration, and we talked about the healing power of crystals. And today we are going to talk about the healing power of Qigong. So welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
And I am fascinated with Qigong, and I need you to tell me everything. First of all, how did you get interested in doing Qigong? And what is it?
I've always been interested in energy medicine. It's something that came naturally to me, working with crystals and essential oils. There's a vibratory essence to them, a vibratory healing effect. And it's the same thing as...
And what do you mean by that?
Energy medicine. Everything is vibration in our world. So it's working with these subtle vibratory energies to bring healing in. So there's a subtle vibration that is around each human being, and there's a subtle vibration around a crystal, and it's all energy. So my interest in Qigong is the same as my interest in any type of energy healing or energy work, is that subtle healing that actually brings great physical healing to us, and mental and emotional and spiritual healing as well.
And so Qigong is also affects a person's vibration?
Yes. Any form of healing affects our vibration. If we have something heavy within us and we want to release it, just that simple act of release shifts our whole vibratory energy. So working with Qigong is one excellent way to bring in this healing, this vibrational healing energy. And this particular form of Qigong is called Zhening Qigong. And I was attracted to it because I heard about something called the Medicineless Hospital in China.
Yeah, I have heard of that too.
And a lot of people have at this point. Greg Braden had a video called Quantum Healing, which anyone can Google to see this. But he showed it at one of his talks where there was a split screen up. So on one half of the screen, they took a picture of a person who had a 3-inch bladder tumor.
Wow.
And they froze that screen. And then on the other side of the split screen, they had a real-time image of what was happening. And they were taking these images using ultrasound.
Oh.
So one side is showing this 3-inch tumor, and the other side is real-time. And in this video, he talks about these Qigong masters who basically chant a phrase over and over and over that basically means already well, already healed, never not well, basically. It has many different kinds of meanings, but basically you are well. And because the patient had already gone through a 3-week program where they learned about this practice, learned how healing it was, had seen other people heal from major injuries and illnesses, they were able to shift their consciousness to a place of believing that this kind of work would actually cure them. So a large part of this work is knowing that it will work. And then
is knowing from the patient side, or
the patient needs to know that it will work. And if you think of just the effect of placebo, when you look at the placebo effect, it actually ends up being one of the most potent and powerful medicines for curing a human being. As long as the patient believes that the medicine they're taking will heal them, it will oftentimes heal them. So it's the same sort of idea that once you know and believe that this medicine can work, it will work. This particular brand of Qigong has had a 95% success rate at bringing healing to over 180 diseases, including a 40% cure rate. And we're talking about people who are coming to them who've been told, there's no hope for you. There's nothing Western medical science can do. And these people come into a situation where they have little or no hope, and they have to rebuild their hope and believe that they can heal. And so part of the whole process of the Zhening Qigong is helping the person to center themselves and ground and open to the healing of the universe, or the healing energy of what they call primordial qi, which is basically source energy, just the source of all energy. So people come in and they learn that this method will work for them. They believe in the process. And then these Qigong masters, they practice Qigong 8 hours a day, basically, for a 3-week period. And then at the end, Qigong masters come in and they chant already well. And the patient knows and believes that this method will work. And you see this 3-inch bladder tumor shrink in real time within 3 minutes to absolutely disappearing.
Wow.
So
and
this person is cured.
Is this at the point when the Qigong masters come in at the end, after that? Oh, and so they kind of just do the finishing touch.
Yeah.
Like the person primes themselves by just opening for 8 hours. And how does a person do that? Like, we got to start from scratch here. So what is Qigong? What's the actual physical action of it?
Well, there's many different forms of Qigong. There's probably 7,000 to 8,000 different recorded types of Qigong.
Wow.
And it's a 5,000-year-old practice from China, developed around the same time that India was developing Ayurveda, and other ancient techniques were being developed. So over a 5,000-year period, there's many recorded versions, but there's 5 different segments of Qigong, one being Taoist, one being Confucius, one being Buddhist. Martial is another one, which includes things like Tai Chi. And then there's medical Qigong. And so medical Qigong is is the type of Qigong this is. It's Zhening medical Qigong. So all medical Qigongs deal with healing.
So what are the other Qigongs for? They're not for healing?
It's about learning how to work with energy. And if you're wanting to protect yourself, and you learn Tai Chi because it brings in good energy, but also if you find yourself in a battle, you learn ways to deal with that in a way that deals well with the energy of the universe. I am not privy to all of the Qigongs. I haven't studied them. But the medical Qigong is what I'm most interested in because it is about healing, and that's what is important to me. And this particular healing Qigong has actually, in 1998, I believe, the Chinese government rated Zhening Qigong as the best form of medical Qigong because it had healed and helped so many people in China at that point.
So now you learned this through...
I learned this particular form of Qigong through a Qigong master who was at the medicineless hospital in China.
Oh, he was actually working?
Yeah, he was there for, I believe, 9 of the 10 years that it was open.
Wow.
And maybe even from the beginning. But
how old was he?
Oh, he was very young. This was very new for him when he started doing it, and he wasn't quite sure about it at the beginning. And then he just saw how it helped his life and brought him to a greater state of peace, and he dedicated his life to it. And he was one of the Qigong masters who would do the work at the end to help people bring full healing.
Oh, wow.
So his name is Master Jianshe. When I found out about this Greg Braden video, it was about 7-8 years ago, and I started searching on the internet immediately trying to find it. I was very interested in knowing more because of the huge success rate they'd had with curing things like diabetes and many forms of cancer, but even anxiety and stress-related illnesses, which is most illness.
Most people have, yeah.
And I didn't find it, and then about a little over 2 years ago, I was supposed to go to another workshop that didn't end up happening, and I found out last minute that Master Jianxi was coming into New York City to teach a workshop. And I thought, oh, well, I'm here and I wanted to learn about this, so I guess I'll go in. And
Who was having the workshop?
It was at the at ARE, or the Edgar Cayce Center in Manhattan, in New York City.
Right.
And there's still actually, there's a meetup group that meets every other Tuesday at the Edgar Casey Center, the new one that is on 27th and 7th. They just moved.
Oh.
But they have also hosted Master Jianxi the past 2 years when he has come in.
Oh.
And I was fortunate enough.
I'm fascinated by this too. I'd love to learn whatever that is.
Well, we hope to have him again in June.
Uh-huh.
It'll be the 3rd year that he's been hosted there. And I've been fortunate enough to be at both of the 2 past workshops that have happened, and fortunate enough to even host him in my home this second time. So I feel like I have master Qigong healing energy infusing my home along with all the crystals.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you do.
So
show me, how does this work?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of different methods that can be used. My Qigong master teaches what is called level 1. There are 3 levels, but the levels aren't really about a hierarchy. They're more about just different types of learning, different methods of learning. Level 1 covers something called lift chi up, pour chi down, which is just an exercise similar to what Tai Chi would be, but different exercises that really helps you to learn how to move energy and bring this healing energy into your own energy field. But that's one form, and we learn a couple of other forms. But one of the forms we learn also is called La Chi, and it's a very simple form. It's similar to a lot of people I ask have they played with an energy ball when they were a kid or when they were younger. You know, you just sort of hold your hands together and you go, do you feel the energy when you separate them and then bring them back together, and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of feel that. So I'd say probably 60% of the people I ask go, yes, I have that experience. I played with an energy ball when I was a kid. So basically La Chi is just playing with an energy ball. They say in this form of Qigong, where the mind goes, energy follows. And basically what that means is whatever your intention is that you set, that's where the energy goes. Or if you're thinking about stressful things or angry things, then the energy will follow to those places. But if you're focusing just to have energy between your hands, then energy is there between your hands. And if you'd like to just try it with me for a minute, and please, anyone at home, please try it as well. You just hold your hands where the 2 palms, there's 2 palm chakras here, 2 energy centers here, where those 2 energy centers are facing each other.
Okay.
And then you can just separate your hands a little bit and then bring them together. And just see if you start to feel between these 2 energy centers a line of energy forming. And if you don't, you can touch the energy centers with your palms. That helps to activate it. You can also imagine energy between your palms, and then imagine the energy going through one palm to the outside, and then back from the outside into between your hands. And this way you're starting to play with energy through intention, and you start to feel the energy start to rise. And the practice is just simply open, expand to all that is in the universe, close, bring all of that back into you, open, expand to all the primordial, good, healthy chi in the universe, close, bring that chi back into you, expand, contract, expand, contract. And
now,
as you do
is this the kind of thing that people are supposed to do for 8 hours a day?
Well, so, yeah, I mentioned to you that my Qigong master says, if you just do this for 8 hours straight, if you organize the chi field, which I'll talk about in a minute, and just do this for 8 hours straight, you can cure anything. This is what he says and what he truly believes. And I have seen over the past 2 years when we talk to him on Skype and see what's going on at his center in China, I've seen people recover from cancer, from one person had a huge eye issue going on. I want to say it was a growth when he first came in. And within 3 weeks, the growth was completely gone and healed, and he didn't have a problem anymore. Another guy at his center couldn't raise his arm past here, And just after a couple of days of doing lift chi up, or just doing this form of this la chi form of qigong, was able to then raise his arm all the way up again. So amazing, amazing healing energy is happening. And the more you do this, just open and close, the more you'll start to feel that energy build. And it got to at one point where I couldn't close my hands back together because I felt the energy expanding so much between my hands that when I tried to pull them back together, it was really, really hard.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
So you can actually feel the chi building. And I've shifted it a little bit for myself just so it's not so hard to close. But you can actually build muscle doing this.
No, I mean, it is a form of exercise just by, virtue of moving your arms, especially if you do it for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Gotta help.
And if nothing else, this is a great moving meditation because just focusing on energy expanding and then bringing that energy back in, expanding to all that is in the universe and bringing all that is back in.
And this is also intention, though. This is also
through
intention. Now, is it,
energy.
as people are doing this, I'm sure their mind wanders a little bit because, especially if you're doing this for 8 hours, like
I imagine if you do it for 8 hours straight, it would a little bit. But what's amazing is if you just do this for 10 minutes a day, you're bringing healing energy in, you're increasing your own personal energy level. It's a great energy increaser. And you're bringing healing energy in to heal you, but it keeps your mind busy just with the idea of expand, contract. It keeps that active mind busy, or what some people call the monkey mind. It keeps that busy, which allows your quiet mind to come to stillness. And it's an excellent meditation, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But it's a meditation that starts to really allow you to play with energy, to understand how energy works in your life, and to really bring in a lot of healing. And so then if you have a knee issue, let's say, you can just start doing the same thing around your knee. And so you're building the energy around your knee and bringing it in. And as you expand, you're expanding to all the good chi. And as you bring it back in, you're kind of compressing and letting go of anything you no longer need, letting go of any blockages or negativity that you might have. Some people, I've done this myself, I've seen other people too, do it at their head because they're like, oh, I'm thinking about too many bad thoughts. And they just start doing this, and it shifts your thoughts. It shifts your whole energy and your whole being.
Well, I think there are a lot of, this just reminds me that there are gestures that we do, like you might do this when you're going crazy about something, and that might be connected
your head
to
is full of stuff.
That's connected to the same thing of just kind of like trying to diffuse the energy that's there. Is it the same concept?
It's a similar idea.
We kind of do it, like I find myself doing things that I might do this, or I might go like this just automatically, and then later I'll read, oh, that's actually good for relieving tension, and I do it to relieve. I pay no attention to it except when I read, like, oh, that's what it's for.
Right.
But a lot of these things we kind of do intuitively.
Yes.
But we don't know how
realize
much to do it or how it really helps us. It's just kind of a knee-jerk reaction that we do.
Yeah, and from once you start doing the la chi, if you have a friend or a family member that has some pain, you can just do a little bit of la chi. Before you do it, you want to center your energies. So just allow your energy to come in through the top of your head, travel down your spine, and feel feel the earth beneath you. Feel
do you have
the
a
weight.
method for that? Is there a method for doing that?
I just allow energy to come in, my spirit
Just
to come in
think
through
it.
the top of my head, along my spine, and ground in my sit bones. They talk about organizing the chi field in this particular form of qigong, which basically is centering, grounding, opening to the energy of the universe and allowing that energy to come in. There's something called the 8 verses with this particular form of qigong, which is how they organize the chi field. But the basic idea is center, ground, open yourself to the energy of the universe. And if you do that first and then start doing the la chi, if you have a family member that's in pain after you've built a little energy doing la chi, you just shift your hands to send energy to that person. So if you had a knee or a wrist or an elbow issue, I would just send that energy to you. And some people start feeling heat coming out of the hands, which is similar to Reiki. It's just another form of energy medicine. But this is a very powerful energy medicine that's been backed up by Western medical science. Dr. Peng, who is the person who created this form, he grew up with a family that did Qigong. It's a common practice in China. He became a Western medical doctor in 1959, I believe it is, and then he started practicing Western medicine in China, but he wasn't really fully happy with the results. And at the same time, he was studying more of the Qigong. He was finding more and more results and cures with the Qigong. He opened a research center, I believe it was in the 60s, where he was researching Qigong and how to work with it. In the 70s, I think all through the 60s as well, he studied with 19 different Qigong masters, including Taoist and
just to reflect the different schools of Qigong.
And medical. He worked with traditional Chinese medicine doctors. That's part of Qigong is a part of traditional Chinese medicine. So he worked with traditional Chinese medicine doctors as well as various different masters of Qigong. This was at a time when China was really saying, okay, we keep looking to the West. What do we have here that we can call on? So it's sort of a rebirth of all this ancient wisdom of these secretive Qigong practices. So he got to study because of his interest and influence as a medical doctor and the things that he was doing. He was able to study with 19 different Qigong masters. And he sort of brought the best of everything into this practice. And then he started doing the practice. He put the practice together during the 70s, started doing the practice in the 80s, really committed to it, and then opened this medicineless hospital in 88, I believe, in one location, and then moved it, I think, in 89. And it was open for 10 years.
I want to talk a little bit more about that because I've also seen this video and was totally amazed by it. And I think it's something that we need to have here. You were telling me that they closed the original one but in China, but now they've opened up smaller. Is there anything operating like that here in the U.S.?
Yeah, so after the 10 years, they ended up having to close the main center, but this was great because all these Qigong masters who had really honed these skills sort of dispersed out through China and throughout the world. So my Qigong master has a center in China. There's another one I know of in Hong Kong. There are several throughout the world. There is a master here in Northern California. There's another center in Hawaii. Master, I think it's Master Liu, comes once a year to Illinois and does a 3 to 4 week intensive. My Qigong.
Where in Illinois?
I don't recall, but anyone can contact me if they're interested in that. And then my Qigong master has been coming every year now in the summer.
But he doesn't have
June.
a clinic. He's basically teaching people.
He has a clinic in China.
But he doesn't have anything here.
But here he doesn't. He's just teaching a weekend workshop. But we have, out of that weekend workshop, we've created a meetup group, and we meet every other Tuesday at the Edgar Cayce Center. To practice and also talk with other Qigong masters. It's amazing for $10 twice, every 2 weeks. You get to go and do the practice and also have a Skype session usually or a guest speaker come in that talks about their work with Zhening Qigong and to answer questions and show new techniques. So we've learned a lot of new techniques and spoken to our Qigong master along with many others after we do an hour or so of our practice.
Now I want to ask you also, because we're saying that the practice of Qigong is really the thing that heals you, and then the masters kind of come in and cement the healing for you. Right? That's how it works in the hospital.
Yeah.
So my question is, I know you do some energy healing work. Do you incorporate the Qigong with that, or do you?
I do. I've always done energy work along with my crystal healing or my essential oil therapies, and I do just energy work as well. And I've studied several different techniques. I sort of had my own technique that just came through me when I would work with people when I was younger, before I was doing this professionally. And I only wanted to add to that as opposed to just throw it out. It's my own form. It's just how energy moves through me. Usually it's through consultation. People will be talking to me and I'll just be called to put my hands in certain places or move energy in a certain way. But then I added on to this by studying different methods, including IET, and I was very interested. Integrated energy therapy. It's just one of the practices that I studied. It's just another form like Reiki. I studied some Barbara Brennan techniques because she has an energy healing school. That's the only accredited university for energy healing in the U.S. in Florida. So I was very interested in her work, and I've studied a lot of her techniques with people that taught at the school. And just to supplement my own energy work. And then when I learned about this Jining Qigong, of course, I was very interested in incorporating that as well. And I have used it a lot. I mainly use Brennan techniques that I've learned, and my own techniques that I was already doing, and now the Qigong in my work. And it's just doing Fa Qi. Like I had a friend, I was at a restaurant and I had a friend who hit her head and she was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, hold on. And I just sent her some energy for about a minute and she was like, oh my God, it feels so much better. That really works. And it's very powerful because you're also beyond organizing your chi field, which is centering and grounding and opening to the energy of the universe. I connect to all of the masters who have done this work for the past 5,000 years. And I asked me to be a part of that field that they hold. And so the energy coming through is very powerful because you are connecting to an ancient lineage that's been doing this.
Oh, awesome.
So
I need to wrap up now, but I wanted to thank you so much for coming and being our guest again.
Thank you.
This information is terrific. And is there a way for people to reach you if they want to get some healing?
Sure. I'm most easily reached at 917-406-0225. And people can also find me on Facebook at 5 Sense Healing. Is the Facebook page, and it's a great way to message me. 5 Sense, S-E-N-S-E, Healing.
Great. Thank you, Laurelle.
Thank you.
This is Betsy Sawyer Galen saying thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.